السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا، ورضي الله عن صحبات الراشدين المباركين والتابعين لهم بخير وإحسان إلى يوم الدين، وعلينا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وأما بعد. Beloved brothers and sisters, inshallah you are having a wonderful day today, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to guide us towards loving Him. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to sustain us with His love and sustain us with the love of His final Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. I just received a tweet this morning from a brother in the Horn of Africa, and he asked me to address, or he posed a question: why aren't Islamic scholars talking about the issue in Libya right now in terms of the well-reported slavery that's going on, in which people are being sold. People from sub-Saharan Africa are being sold in Libya. So I figured that I would make some comments on this to give a little bit of clarification and direct this especially at people who are black or consider themselves black in this regard. So let's go back a little bit in time. The issue that took place in Libya and the can of worms that were opened up after the so-called revolution in Libya, in which Muammar al-Gaddafi was unseated, there was things that took place to African migrant workers directly after Gaddafi was overthrown. Many of you maybe have seen the video of African migrant workers who were thrown into the Torabulus Zoo, or Torabulus is Tripoli. They were thrown in cages in the zoo, and they were told to, they were tied up and they were commanded to eat the green Libyan flag, saying, Kul kalb, kul alam kalb, meaning eat dog, eat the flag dog. So this was going on in Libya shortly after Gaddafi was overthrown. It was believed by the Libyans in the north that the sub-Saharan African people from Mali, people from Cote d'Ivoire, people from Chad, that these people were actually allies of Gaddafi, and there began to be a wholesale rounding up of black people right after Gaddafi was executed. So the issue of the targeting of sub-Saharan Africans in Libya, we could see that this was taking place directly after the overthrow of Gaddafi, and there was a correlation, a relation to people who held anti-Gaddafi sentiments and associating the Gaddafi regime with black Africans. And of course, this is true that Gaddafi, whether we want to critique his entire life or not, he did do a lot of aid in sub-Saharan Africa. I saw it myself in Mali, in my trips and time in Mali, where there was a lot of development work that was done by Gaddafi, and there were people who felt that that black Africans or people from sub-Saharan Africa were benefiting more from Gaddafi and certain things that he was doing, and they feel like they weren't reaping the benefits, much less freedom. So this is kind of the background. Now, if we go forward a little bit in time, the people who are being held right now from a few sub-Saharan African countries, these are individuals who went into Libya and basically paid smugglers to help smuggle them into Europe. this is all undocumented now. And what I mean by undocumented, some here in the immigration rights movement would call this undocumented immigration. Others call this illegal, but I don't like using the term illegal to refer to migrants or immigrants. This is why I'm using the term undocumented. These people paid smugglers, just as in Latin America and Central America, there are people from El Salvador, people from Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, who will pay people to smuggle them across the border into Texas or New Mexico, Arizona, and smuggle them into America. Well, this is a similar thing taking place in Libya. People paid smugglers, okay? Once they paid the smugglers and ran out of money due to expenses or exploited by the smugglers, then the smugglers then told the people, you didn't pay your bills, where's your money? And then claiming that they had debt, and then at gunpoint telling the people that, oh, well, you have to pay your debt to me. And then this is the whole situation of the sub-Saharan Africans being then sold into slavery. Let me say that I don't believe that that most of this is driven by a race. You know, this is a reflex action of us by black people when we see lighter skinned Arabs doing things to black people, that we think that the primary motivation behind it is race. No, I think the primary motivation behind, like all human smuggling, relates to exploitation, people making money, just as there is human exploitation and smuggling of people into America. I mean, we have the issue here in America. We don't have auction blocks, but there are people who are working in de facto slavery and being trafficked in the United States of America to this day. And this takes place in many countries in the world, where people are being smuggled out of poor economic situations to other people, into other areas. This is going on, right? So I don't think that racism is the primary factor, although, of course, there is anti-black racism that exists in Libya. So that's the first thing, and this is my advice to people of African descent, that the primary reflex shouldn't be that because we see something happen to black people, that the primary motivation in and of itself is anti-black racism. Now, in saying that, there is a issue, or there is a race problem in Libya, Tunisia, and in a number of these countries as it relates to black folk. But again, I don't believe that this is the primary motivation, that people are being enslaved simply because they're black. It's a crime of opportunity, right? And these are the people who are desperate, who are trying to leave their lands to go to Italy or to go to other places in Europe in which they're trying to find economic opportunities. Now, within saying that, Libya is a vastly Muslim country. It's a Muslim majority country, and I checked on the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and I didn't see a single statement from the OIC. And the OIC actually has a seat at the United Nations. And the OIC is supposed to be an organization of cooperating Muslim countries in which they talk about issues that take place inside the Muslim world and make statements or try to put forth suggestions to remedy problems. So in saying that, I've been looking at the OIC's website. I have not seen a single statement from the OIC regarding what's going on in Libya right now. And I think that's utterly shameful that the OIC hasn't put out a statement about this. One, because it's known, and the United Nations has sent in investigators, and they've put out statements, including undercover people who've liberated people. They've documented the trafficking situation. Some people have been liberated from it. I actually talked with a brother a few days ago, on Thursday, as a matter of fact. I have a friend that lives close by from Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, and it was him and two of his brothers, and they were talking about people who they know back in Cote d'Ivoire who actually got freed from being trafficked in Libya. And then there's an AJ Plus video that was on too, showing individuals who are being returned back to Cote d'Ivoire. So it's really shameful that the OIC hasn't put out a statement. As far as the Islamic Council or the International Council of Jurists, they haven't put out a statement about this one particular issue either. Maybe because they're inept. Maybe it's because the agenda of many of these scholars are controlled by governments. I mean, we've seen what's taking place in Saudi Arabia right now. We have certain scholars who perhaps didn't cheerlead Mohammed bin Salman. Scholars such as Salman al-Uda put in jail, who's a Salafi scholar. Al-Uraifi put in jail. The Mufakkir Hassan Farhan al-Maliki put in jail. So, if you don't agree with the program of the government, you get put in jail, right? So maybe this is another reason why there hasn't been any statements. Well, just let me say clearly two things. Number one, it is forbidden in Islamic law to just pick people up and to make people slaves. And this goes back a long time, like in times of peace, right? You just can't pick up people and just detain people, right? And especially fellow Muslim brothers and sisters. This is clearly haram. This is clearly forbidden, that one cannot take their Muslim brother, their Muslim sister, and enslave them. And if you look at the countries of where people have come from in Libya, and as I mentioned, Cote d'Ivoire, you look at the names of the people that have been let free. Like I saw this one brother named Musa, right? Like there are no Christians named Musa in Cote d'Ivoire, right? So these people are enslaving fellow Muslim brothers and sisters. So this is clearly haram and forbidden, and we have many statements about this. Umar ibn Khattab made some famous statements about this. We could see in the history in Senegal, in West Africa, in this area of when there was the so-called transatlantic slave trade, that there were Muslim leaders who were putting out statements and proclamations against cooperating with Europeans because they learned that Europeans were enslaving their Muslim brothers and sisters. The second thing is, according to international convention, this is illegal according to international law. But thirdly, in every single country in the world, including in all Muslim majority countries, that human trafficking and slavery of any individual, be they a Muslim or be they not Muslim, including in Libya, is illegal. So we're talking about illegality according to Sharia, according to Islamic jurisprudence, of Muslims enslaving people during peacetime and enslaving fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, taking free people, making them slaves. This is haram. This is against Islam. And then according to international conventions and secular law in countries all throughout the world, slavery is illegal, is forbidden. That the scholars haven't spoken to this, that the OIC hasn't spoken to this, is very troubling. And these are the type of issues actually that are against Islam, and I would say anti-Islam. And it's not that these enslavers or traffickers are doing things in the name of Islam. I don't think they're doing things in the name of Islam at all. They're doing things in the name of dollars, of dinar. They're trying to make money. It's not like they're looking for religious cover to traffic people, especially traffic fellow Muslim brothers and sisters. That's not the issue at hand, right? It's about money. But it is to say that we as Muslims, when we see other Muslims doing things like this, people who aren't Muslims see these types of things, and it just fuels into false narratives about Muslims and Islam, especially for black people. Right? There's a narrative that goes around in amongst African Americans, people who are black Orientalists, as well as some people who are Christians in some areas in Africa, that basically say that Islam is an Arab-centric religion, or that Arabs put down black people within Islam, and even to the point that some have said that why do black people want to become Muslim? You just traded one slave master for another, meaning that following the religion of Christianity, you're following the religion of the white slave master. And then when black people convert or revert to Islam, then it is said that we are trading in one slave master, the white slave master, for the Arab slave master. Right? Well, of course, we know this isn't true. But this is the perception. So this actually goes against the da'wah and against the image of Islam and the true teachings of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa ala alihi wasallam. So with that, brothers and sisters in Islam, I hope this gave a little more clarity to the issue. We need to pray, for our brothers and sisters in Libya. Pray for those who have been illegally and unlawfully captured, and also pray for hidayah for the captors and the ones who are involved in the haram and criminal activity, that Allah Azza wa Jal guides them aright. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to have us see truth as truth and follow the truth, and to have us see falsehood as falsehood, and then stay away from falsehood. أقول قولي هذا استغفر لي ولكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك نعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.